AMLA, PNP, General Torre, the flavor of the month of TikTok,
None, Your Honor, sir.
to the COMELEC,
None, Your Honor. Thank you po.
and of course to the PCO. Do you have any statement?
Sir, I would like to make a statement. First of all, thank you for inviting the Presidential Communications Office in this very big fight against fake news. The Presidential Communications Office is pleased to speak at the Joint Committee hearing the Committee on Public Order and Safety, Information and Communications Technology and Public Information. The issue of fake news, illegal gambling, deep fakes, pornography, hate speech is the biggest fight right now of our generation. It destroys the very fabric of our society, and we have to protect our children not only of fake news, but all these bad things that we see in this technology platform that we have. But more on the vloggers, we should concentrate a regulation on the platforms. The platforms like Meta, TikTok, YouTube are foreign platforms. They do not have a base here. When you complain for these posts that we can take down, it takes a long time. So we have to focus on the platforms, first of all, to self-regulate them. If you want self-regulation, or maybe come up with an operational system between the PCO, DOJ, and the DICT to identify these fake posts, to identify fake information. You see, what's happening to us is we are being divided online. It's very polarized. And yet, it's Filipinos and Filipinos fighting each other. It is not good for our country to see our countrymen being divided by hate speech, by pornography, that's very easily accessed by our generation. You know, I was talking to the West Philippine Sea earlier about communicating the West Philippine Sea issue to our countrymen. I said never again that the Philippines will lose any part of our country, just like what happened in Sabah. In the Sabah issue in the 1960s, if you look at it, Sabah was owned by the Royal Sultanate of Sulu for a long time. The Malaysians were paying rent to the Philippines. We tried to get it and claim it as our own. But what did the Malaysians do to us? They pitted Filipinos against Filipinos. They supported a Muslim secessionist movement in the South using religion and race or against each other. Filipino Christians, Filipino Muslims fighting each other. So eventually, because they divided us and eventually conquered part of our territory, we lost Sabah. And imagine if Sabah is like as rich as Mindanao, even probably richer than Mindanao. The Petronas Towers were built because of the minerals and properties of Sabah. It's happening again. This is happening. But now, a foreign actor using fake news to destroy each other. So what we want on the PCO side, we urge Congress to join our digital crusade against combating fake news by strengthening our laws, such as the Cybercrime Prevention Act, and introducing internationally accepted policies and standards for content moderation on social media. I respectfully encourage our honorable lawmakers to consider the framework of the Digital Services Act, a recently adopted EU regulation which prevents illegal and harmful activities online and the spread of disinformation while still ensuring that the freedom of expression is upheld. The danger right now, sir, the greater danger right now, aside from fake news, is deep fake, wherein you put a person's face on another person. There were several complaints raised with the PCO that said, sir, tignan mo naman, may mga known personalities recruiting on advertising, mga scams. Yung mga OFW natin, nai-scam. Dahil nakalagay yung boses ng isang kilalang personality or isang kilalang negosyante. Pero hindi naman totoo yun. Imagine if you put the head of the COMELEC commissioner doon na ang nagsasabi, akala mo deepfake din. It is a national security concern that we really have to fight. Not against each other, but collectively, we fight together. We fight as one. Because, you know, the fight against fake news should be prioritized. We said before, right, it was the fight against illegal drugs. But in this generation, the fight against fake news, deep fakes, they bring so many social media ills. Look, we now live in two worlds, the cyber world and the real world. The children right now spend more time on the cyber world. And if you give them constant disinformation, if you give them constant lies and negative news, what will happen to the next generation of Filipinos? We will forever be divided, just like what's happening in the United States. It's now happening in our country. It's so hard now to reach out to the yellows, to the greens, to the reds, or wherever political camp you belong to. What we need to do is to unite. Look at what happened, example, to Congressman Rodante Marcoleta. Pinagbumura siya. Nilait-lait ang kanyang relihiyon. Tama ba yun? And yet, there's no regulation. There's no regulation. There's no punishment. So, on the part of PCO, we're trying to come up with an operational system wherein the DICT, the Department of Justice, and PCO should come up together to take down all these posts we consider national security concern and posts that divides Filipinos and spreading of fake news, and also the fight against illegal online gambling on the internet. It's not just fake news. There's so many ills there. But of course, with technology, there's good and there's bad. It can be a force of good. But we make sure that online, the voice of truth should be louder than lies. It should always be louder than lies. Because now, a lie told 1,000 times drowns out the truth. We don't know what the truth is anymore. So we make sure here, as PCO, we make sure that in PCO, our foundation are truthful facts. I urge everybody here, let's get our acts together. We are not the enemies. We should stand together. The enemy is fake news. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Sec Ruiz. Before we continue, may I acknowledge the presence of Deputy Speaker David J.J. Suarez, and online we have Honorable Nelson Dayanghirang, Honorable Raul Daniel Manuel, and Honorable Celso Rehencia. We will now proceed with the interpellation. As I've said earlier, to have an orderly hearing, may I request all the members who would like to ask questions to have your names listed. Please state your name. You have something to say?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I would just like to inform the committee that Ms. Sasrogando Sasot was not recognized and was kicked out of the Zoom link that she was provided for.
Unfortunately, ma'am, the Zoom meeting is exclusively for members only. Hindi po para sa hearing yon. The Zoom meeting is for members and the committee secretariat staff lang po. So if she's here in Manila, then she can attend the hearing. Abutin pa naman to ng mga another 3 to 4 hours. We have already 9 members who will be interpellating. We cannot, we would like to apologize because we cannot really accept her. It's exclusive for members and committee secretariat only.
Mr. Chair, she was provided a Zoom link. A, a staff a while ago provided a Zoom link.
According to the COMSEC, we did not provide anyone, any resource person, a Zoom link. So most probably it was leaked by a staff or a member. We don't know where the source came from. But again, unfortunately, sad to say, we cannot accept her because I reiterate what my previous statement, that it is exclusive for members of Congress only, or rather of this committee and committee secretariat. Okay? So please take note. We'll now
Understood, Mr.
proceed
Chair.
with the, may I acknowledge the presence of Honorable Ernesto Junicio. We'll now proceed with the interpellation. First on the list, Representative Dante Marcoleta. You have the floor.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair. What I would like to say is not an interpellation. Maybe I will just make a very general manifestation, Mr. Chair, because up to now, I am not yet sure how how can we address this looming problem that the country faces in relation to fake news and deep fakes, false narratives and false information. In the face of certain gold standard set by our Supreme Court. This gold standard, Mr. Chair, came in the form of decisions. May I just cite at least 4 of them, Mr. Chair, for our sake. This concerns the conduct of public men, people in government, and how criticisms can be hurled against them and how should they respond to these criticisms. I think these are very important standards, Mr. Chair, in the wake of our desire to probably make laws in relation to free speech. The first one, Mr. Chair, is the case of Yabut versus Office of the Ombudsman, 303 Philippines 319. And I quote this: a public official, more especially an elected one, should not be onion-skinned. Strict personal discipline is expected of an occupant of a public office because a public official is a property of the public. He is looked upon to set the example how public officials should correctly conduct themselves, even in the face of extreme provocation. The second standard, or the second case that reiterates this standard, Mr. Chair, is United States versus Bustos, 37 Philippines 731. And I quote this: the interest of society and the maintenance of good government demand a full discussion of public affairs, complete liberty to comment on the conduct of public men is a scalpel in the case of free speech. The sharp incision of its probe relieves the abscesses of officialdom. Men in public life may suffer under a hostile and unjust accusation. The wound can be assuaged with the balm of clear conscience. A public officer must not be too skinned with reference to comment upon his official acts. The third one, Mr. Chair, is Sason versus CA, 325 Philippines 1053. On this point, the rule is that defamatory remarks and comments on the conduct of acts of public officers which are related to the discharge of their official duties will not constitute libel if the defendant proves the truth of the imputation. And the last one, Mr. Chair, is De Leon versus People 776 Philippines 701. And I quote this: while petitioners' declarations may be offensive, they are not actionable by themselves. Being sensitive has no place in this line of service, more so when allowing otherwise has the potential to create a chilling effect on the public. Mr. Chair, why am I stressing this gold standard as enunciated by some of the important decisions of the Supreme Court? Because as public men, as public servants, I have cited an example earlier when one blogger attacked me indiscriminately, called me demonyo and all this. My defense to that, Mr. Chair, is not probably to ask him in public to explain or even ask for an apology or he be restrained by this committee. But I will just stand upright, as upright as I can and clean as I am, because people would judge me for what I am and for what this person could do against me. Yun lang po ang nakikita kong parang armas natin. Kapag nakikita nila tayo as transparent as we can to these people, people can easily distinguish na wala yan, sinungaling yan. Like, yun lang ang gusto kong maging karanasan ng tao, kahit na siguro hindi ko na siya idemanda o pagalitan o gumawa ng action against him. It is enough that people would not listen to him anymore, that he will be rendered useless, and people would just judge him as, as a liar, somebody who peddles something that cannot be accepted by people. To me, that is already a consolation, Mr. Chair. So kung ating pong mga vloggers ay maaring napapasobra po yung kanilang pagkikriticize sa atin, talaga kung minsan po ay ganon. We have to strike a balance between the public affairs, between the public issues that must be deliberated completely and in the light of an extensive discussion of public affairs of government. You have to strike a balance between the importance of these issues discussed in public and the hostile accusation that might arise from this. Yun po yung gusto ko po. May mga batas naman po tayo, once they attack us on a private side, ang sinasabi po ito very, very easily, that could constitute libel pagka-personal na po. Kagaya po nung tinawag niya po akong demonyo, okay, yun na po, personal na po yun. It's up to me to act kung gagamitin ko pa po yun. Pero sa akin po ay parang ano na lang yun. Katulad po nung nakaraan na pagdinig po, hindi ko makalimutan, isang abogado pa naman yun na nagbablog po na sinabi niya na huwag kayong maniwala sa pakulo at panliling lang ni Marcoleta. You were here, Mr. Chair and members, nung tanungin ko po siya, ano po ba po yung basihan ninyo na ako po'y nandin lang. Wala po siyang maisagot ng kahit ano. He is a lawyer and he was allegedly teaching in a very reputable law school. So yun po, Mr. Chair, pwede ko po siyang demanda ng, pwede ko po siyang padisbar. No? Iniisip ko lang po na pwede kong gawin yun because as a lawyer, ay maling-mali po yung ginawa niya because we have our own code na talaga pong pinagsisikapan naming itaguyod sa mga members po ng Philippine Bar. So, meron po tayong mga batas na umiiral, Mr. Chair. May libel, ando na po yung maring madisbar po yung mga kamukha namin na members ng Philippine Bar, na nasosobrahan na po yung sinasabi nila. Pero sa mga vloggers po na maaaring kinikriticize tayo because our conduct is public. Yung pagsisilbi natin is public. They need some kind of a medium. Nakikita po nila tayo that we should be as transparent and accountable as we can be. Sa akin po ay binibigay ko na lang pong isang karapatan para sa kanila. Wag lang po sana yung sumobra po na maging personal na po ang mga pangyayari. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Paalala lang po sa lahat, pakilapit po yung mikropono dahil may problema tayo sa audio. Medyo mahina po. The next to interpolate, Representative Rods Gutierrez. You have the floor.